Okay, in this first slide, you can see how scary and intimidating Batman is as he scares Richard Daniel into stepping down as bank chief. And the artwork is able to represent like the dark mood and tone that's going on, and how scared Richard Daniel is. As Batman is only you can only see his eyes and his nose, and he states, "Keep out of the bank, keep the Falcone money out of the bank," which just shows a dark and scary tone and an overall dark theme. Okay, so here in the second slide, I picked Batman and Catwoman fighting as he catches her trying to steal from the mansion where the party's being held. And this was the first bit of action in the story. And although it's not his infamous or his famous bat symbol, which does end up appearing later in the book, it could still be seen as a call to action. Where we can really see a plot develop in the story, as now there's action and there's an argument between the two, and then she ends up busting out the window. I did not include the slide, but you could just tell that the story is starting to be. Third slide here, instead of tuning in on the bat symbol, I wanted to actually show that the left slide represents social commentary as the two men talk about marriage and divorce. Divorce is an extremely common occurrence, especially in the United States, and although they don't go into too much depth about it, it allows the story to feel like real and familiar to the reader because everybody's heard of divorce. And he says, "Must be hell in a marriage," and then the other guy says, "Barbara understands." And even though it's not a lot, it shows a little bit of familiarity with the reader. In the slide right after, we can see here Batman speaking to the men because he ends up responding to the bat symbol, and the artwork simultaneously goes hand in hand with his words, which kind of depicts a dark mood, you could say. And in the bottom left, where he states, "We can talk all around it," you can the way he's drawn almost appears that he's not human like, and it adds just to that to the dark mood and the overall like vibe Batman's giving off. And so here we have what I probably should have included before I included the last slide, but um, it's when the bat symbol is actually shown, and it's technically Batman's true call to action, as it is in almost every single comic that we read about him. And his adventure really begins here as he has the conversation, and this is Batman. And since this is Batman and not like a superhero with crazy powers, he doesn't exactly have or receive a supernatural aid, which is typically the next step in the hero's journey. It just shows the call to action. And to finally wrap this up, I wanted to highlight this specific part in the novel when it began to show the ordinary world aspect of the hero's journey, despite the slightly tense mood that is like present. You could just it just kind of appears to be a rich people party, and it just begins the story in a good way and shows that yes, it's still a world that we would live in.